Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. This is Auto Detour. On today's episode, we are going to be working on getting the crossover pipe put on. I've already actually got the driver's side header bolted up. When I grab the light, I'll show you that here in a minute. I've been kind of working on getting this crossover pipe put on, but I'm having a little trouble with it. So the issue I'm having is the V-bands do not have the little centering ring that goes right in here that lines up the two pipes when you mate them together. So that looks kind of like, not quite this extreme, but similar to the top of that V-band there. It's got a ring on the inside that centers the pipes together. But on these are reliant on the V-bands tightening down and holding the pipes together. And I think I made a pretty, not super critical, but I think I made an error. The ceramic coating's just thick enough that I can't get the V-band clamps to nestle down all the way over the flanges here enough to center up the pipes together. So what I'm doing now is just taking a wire brush and cleaning the ends of the flanges so that they're just bare metal again, and cleaning the outside surface of the flanges here just so the V-bands don't have that little tiny bit of extra thickness from the ceramic coating, and I'm hoping that helps me get it secured in there. Last night when I was trying to get these put together, I couldn't get them centered up because the V-bands would clamp them together before they would actually center the pipe. So I'm gonna give that a shot. Let me show you over here on the driver's side. The header is all mounted up and looks great. So I will tell you that both of these headers are a super pain in the butt to put on, but I did it. I had to use an end wrench on 3 on the bottom side just because I had to squeeze in there between the pipes and the head, but I got it. They're all tight now. They're in there, and you can see I have one O2 sensor plugged in now, and it is plugged into the wiring harness over there. So I talked to the tuner, and the tuner said we're just going to go ahead and delete the secondary O2 sensors. So there are spots for them in the piping, but I'd have to extend the wires to get them up there. And he recommended just deleting the secondary O2s. So that's what we're going to do. So I think the goal for today's video is going to be getting that crossover pipe on. Once we get the crossover pipe on, we'll mount the turbo back up to the turbo manifold here, and hopefully get the downpipe mounted up. We're gonna have to take out this heat shield to get the downpipe all the way down and out for the exhaust exit. But that's gonna be a lot of stuff for one video, so and I only have so much time to get cracking on it. So hoping to make a lot of progress on the truck today. The big part should go together really quickly now that we got them back from the ceramic coater. So yeah, let's hop to it. Okay, so now I've cleaned off the flange on this side and this side. So we're gonna try fitting it up now. I also cleaned off the mating surface on this side. I have not cleaned it off on this side up here, just because it's gonna be incredibly difficult to get around all sides of it, being that the header is already mounted. But we're gonna give it a shot like this, see if it'll line up. And if it does not, then I'll have to work on getting the ceramic coating off the top side of that flange too. So let's get it thrown in there, see if it'll just bolt up. Okay, so the V-band clamp is on this side now. Fits so much better. So don't make the same mistake I did. If you ceramic coat your parts, don't ceramic coat the V-band flanges. It's perfectly lined up here. The gap between the V-band and the pipe is even all the way around, so I know the pipe is nice and centered. And I don't know if you can see through the gap in the V part right here, but the pipes are perfectly lined up, which is what I wanted to see and is not what I was getting last night. So That helped a lot. This side's tight, so now I'm gonna go over, tighten the other side. Look at that beautiful pipe. Eric's nice welds. Racing Ram Fam, go subscribe. If you missed the last video, we lengthened the crossover pipe by 1.5 inches, I think it was. But you guys can go check that out if you want to see that one. But let's hop over the other side, get the other V-band clamp hooked up, and keep rolling. Whew. Okay, after about 4 tries of taking that clamp off and putting it back on and trying to hold it, everything centered, and tightening it and retightening it, I finally have it on and tight and centered. Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of V-band flanges that do not have the little centering ring on the other side. It really makes them a pain to line up. But crossover pipe's on, looks amazing. On to mounting up the turbo and downpipe. I'm really getting excited to get this thing together. I hope you guys are too. I'm gonna run inside to grab the turbo so we can get it mounted up on top of this guy right here. But let's take a quick look at that from the top. You can see all those pipes coming together into the coupler. Really, really cool looking. So, all right, let's get it together. So this flange here is the one I was talking about. This piece actually has it. It's this little flange that sticks up, and it's like a centering ring, so that, like when we put the mouthpiece on here, and this, see there's like an indentation here. So there's like a male side and a female side. That way when you put them together, they actually stay centered. I wish the rest of the piping, like the crossover pipe and things, had that, so that it's not so difficult to actually center the pieces together, and they're not totally reliant on the band clamp to hold them centered. It makes it a lot easier to put it together, but oh well, it's going together. I'm not totally sure that I actually had to grind or wire brush the ceramic coating off the flange. I think it was just me struggling to get the band clamp on while I was holding the crossover pipe centered. So, you know, I only have so many hands when I'm trying to put these things together. But, so, that's out of the way. Let's get the up pipe, put the wastegate port on there, and then we're about ready to mount up the turbo. Okay, so here we are out in the garage. Got the turbo out here. I actually took the cold side off of the turbo because I'm having a lot of trouble getting this, I'm not sure, I'm gonna call it a mouthpiece, but the this piece connected to the hot side. So it came with these 4 bolts. So they're all this long. And as you can see, this one was really difficult to get to. I already had the oil drain on here once already, right here. And it was actually in the way for me to get that bolt on. So it's funny that it comes with 4 bolts this long to go through. So it's got a lock washer and a fender washer, and then a nut on this side to kind of secure it in place, I guess. But this one, there is no possible way that a bolt that long was gonna get through on this side. So this bolt right here, I actually had to cut it off as short as I possibly could and still sneak it in between the hot side housing here and the flange, and still leave just enough threads to go into the threads on this side, because the threads are actually on this side. And so I'm not sure how you're supposed to get a bolt this bolt's probably 1.25 inches, 1.5 into here without hitting this, and you actually can't thread it in from the top with this thing in the way. So that took me a little bit to figure out, but I put it in here with lock washer, fender washer, and I did put some Loctite on it before I put it in, so that shouldn't be going anywhere. I just got this one tight. Gonna tighten up the rest of the 4 and get the turbo put back together. So it's probably all right that I had to take the cold side apart, because if you remember, we still had to clock the turbo down so that it was aiming down towards the intercooler. So now I just put this black O-ring back in place, and then I'm going to set the cold side back on the turbo and get it loosely mounted up, so that after I get it mounted in the truck, I can aim the cold side down exactly where it needs to go. I just thought you guys would enjoy seeing this, the inside of the cold side, and kind of the struggles I had to go through. I think if I did it again, I would do this one first with some all thread, thread it in from this side, put a nut on top, and then stick it down through and put a nut on the bottom as well. But this will work just fine. That's the hardware it came with, and I'm just kind of struggling with these things, trying to figure out where all these pieces go, because this kit did not come with any instructions or even a packing list. So I'm just figuring it out as I go here. So let's get the turbo put back together. I'm really excited to get it back in the truck because that's going to be a big step. We're going to see how much clearance we have with the hood once we have the turbo clocked down. It's going back in. That looks so crazy. So there we got the oil feed line on top, drain line coming out the bottom. Getting a lot closer to where we need the outlet for the turbo going, because it's going to aim straight down there to go down to the intercooler. We're going to get these band clamps snugged up because we got to fit the downpipe in and everything, make sure everything's all lined up before we tighten them all up for good. But really getting excited, getting it back in there. It's looking really great. Man, okay, let's keep going. There we are, downpipe is on. Everything's kind of loose here. You can see I can kind of move it around here a little bit just so I can shift stuff around, make sure it all fits. But as you can see, the downpipe is super close to that AC line. That's why we had to bend it up a little bit. It's basically what we got to do now. We got to remove that heat shield back there because that's definitely going to be in the way. Then we're going to put on the rest of the downpipe to snake through the hole there. But making a lot of progress today. Everything's looking really, really sweet. One last look at the turbo up here. Got it aiming down where we need it to go. Get the wastegate put on top there. This little bung on the top of the downpipe here, right there. That's where the wideband O2 sensor goes. For the oil drain's gonna have to actually go into the oil pan. So that means we'll have to drain the oil, drop the pan, and then there's a fitting over here. Let's see, where is it? This fitting right here. You take that nut off. You just drill a hole in the pan, run this fitting through, and then that braided line is going to go into this fitting here. I was kind of thinking that the top of the braided line was going to be able to use a fitting like this, but they sent it with that barbed fitting, and so the tube just slips over it and doesn't accept one of these types fitting. But I have two for some reason. Anyway, just still figuring this kit out as I go. Lots of progress being made on the truck now. Just a matter of assembling it, getting it put together. We shouldn't be too far off from first startup at this point. We have a set of 8 coil packs here. I'm gonna get those installed. I got my 60-pound injectors inside. So in an upcoming video, we're gonna be pulling injectors and coil packs, getting those replaced. So I hope you guys are still enjoying this series because we're getting really close to getting first startup on the truck. That is going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.